My name is Joey Levitt. The Cypress Creek, looking west. It's October 16th, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm down here in Heritage Village, right across the street, some Camel's property. Going down to the next lot. See this area with a tent, that's the Edwards property. Next to the Edwards property is Heath Calcock's land. Next to Heath Calcock is Bob Hill. My property, Joey Levitt, is about a quarter mile from here. You can see a guy down on the creek down there. I don't know if you can see him with this video. That's Donnie Lowry. He's in the creek. He just caught a rock bass about 5 seconds ago. It's my dog Bella. This is the outlet for what's called Wallace Spring. Bella and I are going to run up here, do a continuous video of our trip up here and show you, from what I understand, it's not a very good looking place up here at Wallace Spring. It's the first time I've come up. I'm going off directions that other people have given me. I'm going to try to make this trip as quickly as possible. But as you can see, this is what we'd call a swell in architecture terms. But it's an area where the limestone's been cut by water for a long time, and it's where all the water runs off and comes down and goes into the creek. Beautiful little place, isn't it? On the left of this swell is the property that used to be the country club. It's now the city of Florence. On the right is a piece of property that's owned by somebody else. As you can see, this ground right here, you hear this term being used over and over again called karst terrain. That's a limestone area that's given in where water can kind of run down into it. And we'll just kind of jog up this way, save time. I think this would be called an area that's kind of fallen in where water can go down into a karst terrain. Now here is where some surveying is being done. I guess to the left is where the city property is. To the right is this other property. Some more surveying tape. I was told if I get over on the land, it's a little easier to work. So I think I'll go up right here. And jog up this way. There's some white-tailed deer. Pretty. This is some beautiful land. Bella, my dog. I'm not in very good shape, as you guys can see. Oh, there's some more tape. They told me what the spring is. It's a one ditch. You go over it and go up to the next one. Right up about a quarter mile off the spring, there's a place known as Wallace Spring. Now Wallace Spring is a place the city had some engineers from Birmingham test, and it was proven by those engineers that dye that was placed in the well at the dump within 4 days was found coming out at the spring. It took it 4 days to get from the dump down here. Now, when the city engineer was in front of the council, one of the council members asked him if there was any contaminants from the landfill found. And he said no. Have a look at that black dirt down there. I don't know if that's natural or not. Anyway, we'll keep moving. So what I'd like to say is, the engineer said there were no contaminants found. But dye was definitely found. The reason why no contaminants were found was because there were no measurements. There was no testing for any contaminants. It's my opinion that the language used by this individual was misleading. If this guy was working for the citizens of Florence, Alabama, he should have told us that they didn't test for contaminants. And if they were going to test for contaminants, they probably would have found them. But of course, I don't think that's the way it works. Okay, up this stream. I think this is the stream they're talking about. Also, that property, that testing, at the end of this property where we first came in, Mr. Kuntz said in a TV interview that there were no trace elements, no dye found in Cypress Creek. Now, that statement is absolutely true. There weren't none. The reason there were no trace elements found in Cypress Creek was because they did not test Cypress Creek. They tested about 5 feet above Cypress Creek in that little swell that I was talking about. And so Mr. Kuntz's phrasing was correct. But I think his statements were absolutely misleading. Because if you were listening to what he was saying, you would think that that meant that no dye was going into our creek. But if someone would have asked him, does that mean that the dye that was tested 5 feet away from the creek, if it was flowing towards the creek and went into the creek, would we have dye in the creek? And he would have had to answer that question, yes. But that's not what it was. I think, again, a very misleading statement. And those type of things really need to be questioned by our council members. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this, but all this water that we're looking at kind of has a little bit of a red tint to it. I heard that it starts getting red. I'm not sure if this is what people are talking about or not, but it does, you know, it kind of looks like, well, that looks a little gooey right there. Looks like there's a film on top of the water. You can look around and see the color of the soil. That's not native color of the soil in any means. Let's go up a little further and see. Oh, it's getting, I don't know if there's enough light to where we can see things, but that certainly doesn't look natural to me. I don't know. Let's go up a little further. There's Bella. Ooh, that's even darker. A little further. It's kind of hard to see down in there because of all the, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at that. Looks like some, that doesn't, oh, heavens to Betsy. Oh. Alright. There's nothing natural about what I'm seeing here at all. Mr. Pendleton. Oh my gosh, look at that. Anyone tell me where that comes from? Mr. Barnhart, Mr. Pendleton, and Mr. Graham, would you guys, if I got a cup of water from you, a cup of water for you, would you guys drink out of this water? As you can see, there's stuff dripping out of the side of the hill, it looks like. You can see it dripping out of the side of the hill. And it's this red goo. This is worse than anything I ever considered in my life. Look at that color. It's almost iridescent. Mr. Pendleton, manganese and iron may be found naturally in the soil, as you kind of mentioned to Mr. Crowder at the end of the last meeting. This is now no normal level. And if you say that it is, I call you a liar. I'd have to. Look, green here. The creek looks a little more natural. We'll go up there in a second, and then you come right here, and you can see it turning into this gooey, red, slimy. Look at the thickness of this stuff. What is this? Oh God. You ought to smell this. I got some on my hand. It smells just like the dump. Look at this stuff coming out of it. Natural. No, Bella, stay back. And if we go up the creek just a little bit further, everything seems to kind of be still kind of red, but things start turning a little bit more natural. Albeit, I don't see a lot of plants growing in this stuff. In fact, I see nothing growing in it. But at least it's clear. That's beautiful. I don't think I'd want to drink out of it. You see the black that's on the edges of those rocks? That's not something that you typically see. There's no plants growing in the water whatsoever. But I'm doing this video because I want people to see. I don't think anybody's really ever seen a video. I'm going to be quiet and let you just look. Oh, by the way, this is what our city's been telling us. There's nothing going on. Gentlemen, it smells awful right here. It smells just like garbage. My heavens, it smells just like garbage. And I want to make something really clear. I've never gotten involved in this type of thing. But this area drains into the creek about a quarter mile above my home and about an eighth of a mile above the waterfalls that my family plays in. My 7-year-old son and my wife probably spend 2 or 3 days in the summer here. My other kids play in it as well. This now becomes personal with me. This is personal. Mr. Pendleton, if you ever again say that this is natural, I'm going to make you... I'm not going to make you do anything. You have nothing to say anymore.